Hey everyone, it's Matt from ZenShop, and today I've got an awesome update for you on how we're doing for the next release and push notifications. So in the last video update, I gave you like a very sort of early preview of how I was excited about doing the real-time communication work on ZenShop. So I've made some more progress now on utilizing that technology to improve the overall experience of ZenShop. So it's trickling down in all sorts of really cool ways. First of all, I'll just give you an example of how we're using the chat widget, for example, and proving that with the WebSockets. So here you can see the chat widget preview on the right hand side, and a customer could start a conversation with ZenShop and your store. So for this initial release, we're not going to support real-time chat with the chat widget. And that's mostly because with the WebSockets, we want to make sure that they're really, really stable. And if it's customer facing, it has the problem of potentially causing issues on the store. So we want to keep the chat widget quite simple to start with. But the actual admin page where the support staff are using ZenShop, that's utilizing WebSockets fairly actively. And this will give us a good chance to fully test out the WebSockets and making sure they're scaling well. We'll click on an option like something else, and then we'll send a little message, and then we'll fill out the email. Okay. Now, what's going to happen as soon as I press enter, two things are going to change on the screen. I'm just going to move the widget over a little bit. You'll probably see it a bit better here. Okay, so two things will happen. One is like a little notification on the bell icon here. Another thing is like something on the right here will pop up and tell you that there's a new notification that's coming. So let's try that. There you go. There you go. So that's the notifications now working. So this is really exciting because what that's demonstrating is the WebSocket it has taken the change from the back end and broadcasted it to the store and the people who should be informed about that change. And these notifications are quite dynamic as well. So done a lot of work on like statefulness and persisting the notifications. So I can give you just an example here, but clicking on the bell icon, for example, brings up this panel. So this is going to get fleshed out more in later releases, but for starting out, it's fairly basic. But what it will do is it will show you your unread and read notifications. So this is a lot more different from previous releases of Zenquiries, where notifications would just come in and then it was up to you whether you see them or not. Here, they're actually going to be kind of like shown historically as well as the new ones. So that will give you the insight into see things that you've missed, but also just refreshing on what's happened recently to your account, whether you've been assigned to a conversation or a team member has picked up a ticket or a customer has recently replied to your message. All of that will be encapsulated in the notifications area. And also obviously again it's utilizing the WebSocket, so it's really fast, real time, and updating itself. I'm going to do lots more work on notifications. I mean, every company like Google, Apple, they always seem to spend time on notifications, and ZenShop will be no different, I'm sure. We'll be spending a lot of time on that. But getting a very basic first release is really important. Other things I'll be working on, lots of stuff, honestly. Lots of bug fixes and lots of just general quality of life improvements to ZenShop. One of the features was Files tab. So I don't think I've shown you this before actually, but one of the abilities that ZenShop has is in this next release is the ability to like upload files to your store's area basically, and then use those files again and again and again in your conversations really quickly without having to re-upload the files all the time. And you've even got like permissions on the file, so you can have it like store wide or you can have it like per user. So it's really good, for example, if like a store just has a general file that all the agents are picking up and using, or there might be just a specific file that this agent is using for his or her work. And yeah, so this is really really cool because files was actually a fairly complicated feature to build for me. It involved lots of work on the cloud side to like upload the file, put it in a secure place, and doing the checks as well necessary for the file integrity and whether it's appropriate to be on ZenShop. Um, there's also like work on the quota as well because each store gets a certain amount of storage, and we check the file to make sure that it fits within that storage. And we also just check that the file is in the correct place. ZenShop is also a multi-tenant system, which means that there's one database, but it's shared across multiple tenants or users. So it's really important to like segregate the data and make sure that there's no like cross contamination between one store's data and another store's data. So done a lot of work on doing the security. It's called row level security on a database. We're kind of doing something similar where everything in the database is tagged with a tenant, and then whenever you retrieve data from the API, the tenant ID is then checked to ensure that you have access and the role for that file. So it's really really interesting. Um, small quality of life changes as well. Like I've been obviously working on the organization settings, which you've seen in the past. So this screen now is working the team page, which means you can see there's two people in this team. Uh, Testing little avatars as well. And you can invite as many people as you want. And they've got different roles as well. So you've got like admins and responders. So the admin is like responsible for all the main settings of the configuration. And then hold on, I'll just close this. There you go. And then the responders are just general agents. So we've got the team page working. And I've just started working on the account settings page. So I just wanted to do avatars actually, because I want everyone to have their own little profile picture. And this is kind of cool. So I'll show you it working. So I click on this file here, upload that file, and then it says a little loading spinner, and then it should do once it's finished. There we go. So I'll walk you through this actually, because it's obviously it seems like a very trivial thing uploading an avatar, but doing it right and doing it well is another matter. What that's doing is the backend creates like a URL, and then the front end uploads to that URL. There's a special URL with like a permissions around who can upload to it and where it's going and so on. And then once that file is uploaded by the client, there's like a checking system. It basically checks the file to see who it belongs to, and like whether they still have access to uploading files or not. It's a binary decision, basically yes or no, whether the file belongs there or not. But once the file is uploaded and then checked, and then it will appear in the Files tab. But avatars are a little edge case, special case, because they're not associated really with a store. They're specific to the user. So avatars had to be a little bit more restricted. I think it's like maximum like 1 megabyte, for example. So we can only allow like very small uploads for a user. And they also expire very quickly. So like when you get the URL for the image itself, it will actually expire. So if I use that same URL for that image in like 2 minutes time, it would no longer be valid. So that prevents the file from being like reused. There's probably a lot of work I still need to do with files in general, but this is my first approach to it. Lots of great work really happened here, to be honest. I still need to do more stuff on push notifications in general, And we've got to do work on search as well, which is this area here. So far I've done like each tab has conversations, orders, and address book, and so on. And you can dive into those conversations and filter the results, which is using the Mealy search, which is really awesome. It's working great. But the next feature I need to finish off before the release also is search here, which will basically encompass all of those tabs and put them into one place. It's going to be really powerful because it will let support staff basically just type something, and then it will find relevant results. We'll do some like clever things around prioritizing certain fields within the database to make sure those results are more prioritized, like things like order numbers and order items and addresses and names, emails. All those sort of things are important. Um, and less important might be just I can't think of anything right now, but there are certainly less important things in the database. Yeah, and so that's the work on ZenShop so far. I feel like I'm getting closer and closer now. Like all the main things are actually working mostly. It's mostly now just finishing up the basic stuff. Obviously, like the account settings, you need to be able to change the name and update your profile and so on, and the search feature, and a little bit more work on email. There's also here, I think, as well. I'm missing this page, which is the Shopify integration. So we need to like, of course, it's working with Shopify, but we actually need to show a settings page here too. So yeah, just lots of little things. The last 10% of a project is always the hardest bit, honestly. But it is cohesive now, ZenShop, for this new version. Everything is working together as one piece. And it won't take too much more time, I don't think. And I'm really excited. So yeah, keep you up to date, and more videos coming next week. See you. Bye.